Good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to the Stop and Recharge session this evening. I would like to thank all of you for taking out the time to join us virtually. The topic that we are going to be exploring this evening is strengthening inner resilience. And we have a very special guest with us who will be sharing on that topic. And so I would like to welcome Marcelo Bulk. Marcelo has been with the Brahma Kumaris for about 37 years now, and he is also the national coordinators of Brahma Kumaris Colombia. He has been a speaker in a lot of different countries and has spoken on topics of meditation, human values, self leadership, etc. He is also a coach, consultant, and an author in human development. He has also written books in Spanish and Portuguese. And last but not the least, he also writes a blog, and the name of the blog is Looking for More Than a Job. So, without any further delay, I would like to welcome Marcelo.
Hello, everyone there. First of all, thank you very much for the invitation. I always want to go to Canada, but I never had the chance. I just passed through once via Toronto. And so it's nice to be even, so it's virtual visit. So I'm still feeling cold just by going there virtually, but that's nice. Now I'm in Bogota. Bogota is a very cold city. Today is extremely cold for us. So we're going to talk about resilience. So we're going to talk about a topic that I do feel people should be talking more. People should be doing more about that. And I do hope that will help you in many ways, okay? When you are a resilient person, you will face obstacles and problems, adverse situations as anybody else. Maybe you will win, maybe you won't, but you yourself will be able to feel okay. And even in the defeat, you will be able to find success somehow. So that's the basically or the main benefit we get from being resilient. Okay. So at the end, there is a space, right, Natasha? There is a space for questions. So they can post questions in the chat box, yes?
Yes.
And someone will tell me those questions, right?
Yes.
It's nice that I know some of you too. So it's beautiful. So I can have some connection, but those who I don't know, let's just say that I thank you to welcome me in your home because I am there subtly, virtually. So thank you very much for that. Okay, so some people they have their mics on, and so maybe you can switch off the mics. That'd be good. So I'm going to use a
Excuse me, sir.
short presentation.
Excuse me, sir.
Okay? So I'm going to use a short presentation about this inner resilience. And in these four images, there is the essence of working with the resilience. Okay, and we are going to see during this lecture,
Excuse
okay,
me, sir.
which is
Excuse me.
more than a lecture, is a
Hello.
way of working in a different way with people. Okay, so let's work that. Just one thing. Okay, so first of all, the main question is, what is resilience? Okay, so
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir.
yes,
Yeah. Sir, my name is Rohit Singh,
And actually, I am from India, and I want to ask one question.
So
This
can you ask in the chat box? So at the end we can take over the
Yeah,
questions because I
yeah,
didn't even start the lecture. Okay. Thank you very much for your cooperation. So what's resilience? So let's say this pen. So it's a simple pen. So if I start to bend the pen, so you can see I'm bending just a little bit. So there is a point I can't bend anymore. Okay, so if I keep the pen like this for some time, the pen will be crooked, will be a little bent forever. Okay, so that's the resilience of the pen. So the pen is able to resist. I'll use that word a little carefully. The pen will be able to resist to my force of bending it, but it will go back to the same shape later. It will be the same. To be bent forever, it will take me to hold the pen, I don't know, 10 hours in that position or more. But otherwise, the pen is made in such a way that it will go back to the shape. And that's basically what is resilience. You bounce back. So anything happens, you go back to the former shape. You go back to what you were before. Okay? That's in terms of material. In terms of people, there is what they call a psychological resilience. Okay? Which is basically the ability of mentally or emotionally cope with a crisis or to return to pre-crisis status quickly. And I got that from this wonderful source, Wikipedia. Summarize, it's the inner capacity we all have to go through a crisis, especially a crisis, and to learn, to progress, and to move on. So that means when you are resilient and you go through a pandemic as we are going through, and I know Canada also has many restrictions. In Colombia, the numbers are down, fortunately, but still we have so many restrictions. People here, they are very happy because we have traffic jam again. So traffic jam, that means people are going out, so things are happening, things are moving, okay? So the people who are resilient naturally, they went through the crisis, the hard part, like July or something very, very tough. They went through it and they are okay. They are not so much disturbed emotionally, mentally, financially. So they are okay. Maybe they're not perfect, but they are okay with that. Those who are not resilient, which is a big bunch, a big part of the population, they have lots of issues nowadays, from unemployment to even mental issues, mental health issues. So resilience is extremely important because it helps you to go through a crisis. And I would like to ask you something, and I want you to reflect on that. So you can see the image here of people falling in parachute, okay? So they are just falling, okay, from a plane. So they were able to just drop themselves. So I want you to think that when we get into a crisis, it's like jumping from a plane. So we're jumping from the plane of our comfort zone. We're jumping from the plane of our safe environment. How can I survive that fall? So that's my question for you. So you can just respond mentally, or you can put in the chat box some of your points. But how can I survive? And I'm not saying only survive because I came down and I'm still breathing, but am I whole? And also, I move with friends there. Maybe they are relatives of mine. How is the relationship between us? How is everything? So think 1 minute about that. Okay, let's go on. When I say 1 minute, that means Zoom minute. Zoom minute means 10 seconds, about that. Okay, so because if I put 1 minute, people will leave. I want to give you an example about crisis and how crisis happens, because crisis is a natural process. It starts with a change, and the change, they have to evolve into a crisis. And a normal person experiences many crises during their lives, but they are quite well spaced in terms of time. And so you can handle them very well. And I want to show you this video, okay? So I hope it works. So I'm going to share the video here. So I'm going to just, please bear with me in terms of technology, we're all working well, so let's see. So hope it works well. The video has some language. I mean, there is a subtitle in Portuguese. Just ignore, just concentrate in the words which are in English.
Everybody knows about playing with dominoes, but what you may not know is that a domino can knock over another domino which is about 1.5 times larger. So what I have here is a chain of dominoes. Each one is 1.5 times larger than the previous one. And the smallest domino is about 5 millimeters high and 1 millimeter thick. And I will carefully place it. And there are 13 dominoes. And the largest domino, it weighs about 100 pounds and is more than 1 meter tall. Ready? Boom. That was 13 dominoes. If I had 29 dominoes, the last domino would be as tall as the Empire State Building.
So that's how crisis happens. Did you see the video well? Was it okay? Some people, they have their cameras, okay. So that's how the crisis happens. The crisis just doesn't happen, just doesn't take place. It's a series of even very small. Have you seen the size of the first domino? It was just a little bit, and it was able to put down something that was 1 meter, more than 1 meter. So you can just calculate the force of the chain reaction. So when the crisis happens, what's going on? The crisis starts with several changes. So let's talk about the pandemic, which the present one. There was already a situation. There was already many riots in the world, okay? In South America, we had riots in basically every country, okay? And in the United States, you saw all the riots. They just talk about one, but there was so many before that because of one reason or another reason. So all of these dissatisfactions, many people, situations, things that are happening, the big changes that we are going through naturally as a society, as we migrate, we are migrating to a new economy. Since the 90s, we have been migrating to this new economy, which is the virtual economy, the internet economy. And that's affecting the whole structure of a society. The way we relate to each other, plus the spiritual situation, because there is a spiritual situation in the world as a whole. So all of that, they are like the dominoes, the chain of dominoes. They just go and they do what they did. They just stopped the whole world. They just made something that used to be thought as impossible. It was a sci-fi imagination, but it happened. All of a sudden, things didn't work anymore. I was in India, well, before the crisis. In fact, the pandemic was already started when I traveled to India. but it was very small and nobody thought it would happen to us, no? And when I left India, my feeling was like the doors behind me, they were just shutting down. And in fact, when I arrived in Colombia, after a few days, they closed all the airports. If I missed that plane and if I had to take one plane 1 week later, I would miss everything and I wouldn't be able to be here. So that's the chain of dominoes. This is why the crisis creates so much unrest, so much confusion in the mind. How is it possible that such a tiny domino created all of that? This is why nobody is able really to understand the situation we are going through. We can't really guess, okay? We can guess, but it's it's very difficult to define everything that's happening. So for that, we have to understand one thing. Normally, when we talk about change, we have to talk about the pain of change. Change creates a sense of loss, defeat, failure. When the change is negative, but even when the change is positive, sometimes it happens, it creates a sense of tiredness, no energy, boredom. So things are not working. I'm feeling lost, lost. When it's a crisis, this is multiplied by 10 or even more. In neuroscience, they say that people who are more resilient, they have more emotional balance when they face stressful situations. Because resilience will help you to deal with those pains, with those aches you have everywhere, you know? Because the reality is pain is not bad. In terms of the body, pain means something's wrong. So you have to fix it. If you don't have pain, you don't know that thing's wrong, and that thing is still wrong. So you won't fix it. So some people, they say that pain is a messenger. So I would like to ask you internally, you can just reflect again. Did you feel any pain with all the changes happening? Just think about it. Sometimes it's a pain, as I say, don't think of pain as a bad thing. It's just a messenger, you know? Sometimes pain can be just a confusion. I'll tell you what happened to me. I sent a message to a person I respect. I really respect her a lot, but I sent a very bad message. And then I realized, what did I do? Oh my God, how could I have done that? And so I went after her and I really asked forgiveness because I didn't really think that. Maybe in terms of intellectually, that was what I was thinking. Yes, but internally, I was not feeling that. So after a while, she's very good. So she said, okay, no problem. Let's go, let's move on. And it was great. It was great. And it was a great lesson for me because when that happened, I realized I have to be extremely careful about what I think about other people. Because many times I can think something about, let's say, I can see here Valerie, and I tell Arvind about Valerie. So I can go and to Arvind and say, oh, Valerie is this and that. She wears orange socks. Imagine. Ooh, okay. So I go to him and I tell him that. Then I realize that's not good. Because many times with the internet now, sometimes you don't manage things very well. And you change, instead you change the message to Arvind, you send the message to the same Valerie. And that's a problem. Then I realize I have to change that part. You know, when you feel pain, don't Don't be afraid and don't deny. Just embrace it. It's part of you, and that's okay. And now let me fix it. Let me take some aspirin or let me do some treatment if it's an internal thing. So let me work with meditation. Let me work with something internally. Let me accept the orange socks. Let me wear some orange socks so I can accept them. So the pain is not bad and it will happen. And really, I saw people who are they are very elevated spiritually, very, very elevated. And the pain was in the sense of get lost, of get, well, I don't know what to do. And it was nice to hear from them very humbly. They were saying, I don't know what's happening. I really don't know what's going on. And it was beautiful because when they accept that, one person especially, she said she didn't know, she didn't predict what was going on. So she said, you know what? I'm doing things day by day. So every day I do something. I had a big problem with time management. My time management was quite good, quite accurate. But with the pandemic, things got all upside down. It was a little strange. So I had to stop managing my time and I start to lead my time. I start to be my own leader. So the pain, when you accept, you can fix it. So what's your pain? How to fix it? Just think, few seconds. And in relation to resilience, we have to be quite careful because resilience has something um, that happens a lot. You know about the concept of the evil twin? In English, that's an English concept, evil twin. That everybody has another person who is similar to you, but it's the opposite. That's very bad. So the problem is resilience has three sisters. They are evil sisters. They are very bad, but they look like her in many aspects. So we have to understand how resilience works. Okay, so I'll show you something here. And this is an image of tortoise. The tortoise, they put their eggs in many beaches, and they have to struggle a lot to go back to the sea. And their struggle, in fact, is part of their resilience. Resilience comes from within. It's based on your own strength. But the problem is you have these three evil sisters. If you are a human tortoise, many times you try to resist. Resistance is a reaction. So something's happening, I don't accept it. I deny it. I fight against it. Especially the fight part. That's part of the resistance. Also, if you flee from the situation, if you fly from them and you run away, it's also part of resistance. It's a different way of showing resistance. Because resilience is not fight. The little tortoise, they don't fight against the sand. They have their own inner strength. It's there, it's imprinted in what they are. They are. So they are what they are. And with that, they can come out of the sand and just go to the sea. It's a natural process. It's not something forced. It's natural. So in the same way, when things are bad, we tend to fight, struggle, or run away. And it's quite naive because that situation will remain there. In fact, it will grow even more, to be worse. Next time you face it, it has grown a bit more. So you have to be careful with resistance. Resilience, you don't fight, you are. And your strength is natural. The second evil sister, is it okay? Yeah, it's okay. So the second evil sister is rebellion. Rebellion can be just protests. So you don't really fight. You argument, you discuss, you shout back. You start to complain, is a little way of rebellion too. You start to criticize people who are wearing masks. So that's a kind of rebellion. And the funny thing about rebellion is that you are not doing anything. You're just you are just like a teenager, a typical Western teenager that is just there, and so they don't fight. And in fact, the teenager, they can be much against their parents. They can say, oh, my parents are very bad. They are doing this with me. They are doing that. And they still accept their money. they still live under their roof and they accept their food. And I mean, I was that teenager, so I can tell you from experience. I used to fight with my mother so much, but I still need her money. I need her companionship. I need her motherhood. So that's the thing about rebellion. And many times we confuse. We think resilience means to have a position, to have an opinion, and I'm against this. And I no. In fact, a resilient person won't complain. No, it won't. Resilient person will accept. Acceptance is the first feature I see in a resilient person. There is this situation. Why not? Yesterday, I just saw a friend of mine 1 year. I think more than 1 year. I haven't been with him presentially. And he came here for lunch. And he was a very nice person. He's tall, very tall. And he was telling about his life nowadays in the pandemic. But he's always complaining and he doesn't like to wear masks. And in fact, we got a little bit scared when we learned that he has COVID. He had COVID. So he had the COVID. He went through the 2 weeks. And so in theory, at least, he's not a danger to anybody anymore. But of course, I saw his way, and he doesn't wear masks. He doesn't take care. So that's the consequence. Because when you are rebelling against things, when you can't accept them, things get worse. But if you accept them, so I have some problem in terms of breathing because I had asthma when I was a child. So still my lungs, they are not that strong. Okay. Um, so so because they are not that strong, when I had to wear masks, I had to come back from India. So I thought to myself, wow, how can I wear masks for 10 minutes, 10 hours, no more? I mean, you're in Canada, so we are not that complicated. You know how far is India. So how can I wear 14 hours mask if I can't breathe? If I walk too fast, I feel like a little tired. It's automatically. So before flying, I train myself in terms of breathing. I start to change my way of breathing. And I was able to wear the masks very easily. In fact, in one of the flights, the person beside me, she was sneezing all the time. She was coughing all the time. And so I had my mask there and it was very nice, very safe. So instead of fighting, I accept that's the situation. I have to wear masks. I have to. In fact, in Colombia, I can get a fine if I don't wear masks in some situations. Okay. So I have to. So what I did, I trained myself to accept it. And that's resilience. You accept, you embrace the reality is what it is. And it's beautiful as it is. Even so, it looks ugly, but it's beautiful. It's disguised. This is why the third evil sister that resilience has, and that sister is very similar to resilience in many aspects, is resignation, is submission, is that false sense that I am accepting. Because when you are resilient, you accept, but you are still growing, you are still reflecting, you are still understanding, you are still having wonderful new experiences, you are still transforming yourself. But when you resign to the effort and you just submit yourself to that, that's bad. Yes, you are accepting, and you accept, yes, I have to wear masks. Oh, yeah, very bad. So you don't talk as a rebellion do, but you think a lot and you create lots of thoughts which are not good. And that's another feature I saw in many people I know who are resilient. Their minds are shining. When we talk to these people, they are shining. They have such a bright energy. I remember talking to one teacher, and he was talking to me in such a way. I felt like very optimistic. I felt like a lot of energy because that's what resilience transmits to others. It gives others hope. It gives others uh, optimism. It gives others a chance to understand things in a different way. So when you are resilient, things will be as bad as for others, but your reaction will be different. So let's see again, no, the image of tortoise, and you can find in YouTube there are so many videos about tortoise being born, and so you can imagine that you have three tortoises there. So if they resist, what will happen? They will be born in the same sand of the person who is resilient. But instead of accepting the situation, finding a way out and using their own inner strength, that resistant person maybe will start a protest and a riot against the sand. And how is it possible that my mother left me alone? What's going on? What type of mother is that? A rebel tortoise will just complain and complain and complain and will try to open the way. And the resigned tortoise will just probably die, will just remain there. Oh, I'm under so much sand, I cannot go out. I don't have any strength. I cannot do anything, you know. I don't know if you have watched cartoons in your childhood, but there was a character and he used to walk around with a black cloud over his head all the time. And the black cloud was even having some thunders there. And he was always negative. Everything was bad. But the resilient tortoise, they will accept, yes, I am under the sand. Yes, I am in a crisis. There is a pandemic out there. There is a little stuff there going around that creates so much trouble, so much trouble. And the economy, the world economy is going down, down, down. And people are scared, but I'm not because I accept it. So instead of fighting, complaining, or just negatively accepting, Resilience will make you do what? Will make you to generate a new change. Because crisis, crisis comes. There are many nice stories about crisis, but crisis in Chinese, and I hope there is nobody there who knows Chinese, so they don't correct me. No, just kidding. Chinese in Mandarin, they say no uh, wage. So there is a part of the crisis that means opportunity, danger, sorry, danger. So the first part is danger. The first letter means danger. So crisis is a dangerous thing. But the second one is at least part of the word opportunity, but it's just part of. So that means a crisis opened the door for an opportunity, but you have to go across. So if you're complaining, you miss the chance. So it's okay. Yeah, it's fine. So I want you to think, do I have any of the three evil sisters in myself? Am I fighting against? Am I complaining against? Did I accept it in a wrong way? So just think about that. And there is a phrase that I like a lot because the plant does not struggle to find light. It uses its own force to do it. So the plant does not struggle to come out of the earth. It has its own force, and we too come out naturally. Um, Resilience is a very easy way to deal with crisis, but how it works, and I'm going to show you the way on in terms of in general way how to work with your resilience, because the beautiful thing about being a human is that we can increase the resilience, and there are four ways to increase it. You have to reinforce your understanding of the situation. You have to have other perspectives. You have to do experience and experimentation or in relation to those things. You have to work on yourself in a small scale to overcome the bad feelings, bad emotions that the crisis create in you. You need some self-checking to know what's going on, and you need lots of cooperation. You remember the first image of the guys jumping from a plane, so they work together, and that will help a lot. Like when you come to a lecture like this, when you come in contact with people like the Brahma Kumaris, what you have is lots of cooperation, not only from the Brahma Kumaris, but even among ourselves. And please, if you have any question, put in the chat box, because very soon we start to address those questions. I want to show you in the way of Brahma Kumaris how we understand crisis. First of all, we see the self as part, as one thing, it's a whole thing, but it has three important parts: a subconscious mind, and intellect. So the soul, the being, relates and interacts with the environment. So the environment influences us, and we influence the environment. How? How does it work? First of all, stuff happens. We react or act. But the crisis is a bit different, because crisis, it's out of the pattern. So it's not something that you are used to. So the reaction is forced, and that's why stress comes. So let's say I'm a business consultant. I'm an independent business consultant. That means I'm eternally unemployed. So I'm always looking for a job. That's part of my life, you know. But with the crisis, it's out of the pattern. So the stress is much more, because it's much more difficult to find job. nowadays. Oh, it's extremely much more difficult. So that's the stress because the crisis is not the same pattern you are used to. It's much more difficult. Then what happens with the self? So that's the environment. So the environment is creating the stress. What's happening with the self? So self, first of all, from your subconscious, we look at our present and we look also at our past experiences. And we feel lost because the crisis emerges as a storm. So when everything happened in this crisis, things just emerge like, oh, what's going on? And many things emerged from the self. Okay, that's natural. That's natural. And the consequence for that is we generate thoughts, ideas, and emotions as a response to what happens, and the mind tends to lose focus because of that. Because I try to address every situation that happens, and that's not possible during a crisis. And we make a decision what to do, but it's often unclear if that's the best decision or not. And we carry out an action, but the results sometimes deepen the sense of crisis within. So that's the picture. So, how to solve that? You cannot change the stress coming from outside. I can't. I would love to. I would love to not have so much difficulty to look for a job. I would love to not have so much trouble to have a good relationship with someone else. You know, I would love to, but I cannot control the external. I can control the internals, however, because from my past experiences, many good things emerged too. And part of my subconscious mind is peace, love, happiness. They are good things. And those things can heal the self. And I felt that so many times, how peace can heal the self. Second thing is you start with something like meditation. You start to control the thoughts of your mind. You start to balance them a little bit. You start to manage your emotions in a better way. You start to use them in a good way. Even if the emotions are bad, like fear, still you can use fear in a good way. Remember, it's a pain, and pain is just a message. So you look for the reason of why is that happening. And then I make a decision. And I make a decision on the basis of peace, love, happiness. And I tell myself, this is what I'm going to do. I I have done that so many situations. I mentioned to you my time management, which went down very badly. So I use that process to recover from it. So a crisis is a chance to become a leader of yourself. It's a wonderful chance because crisis means you don't have where to hold anymore. So you can just let go and can just fly. You are like that little bird that there is a point the mother just push the bird out of the nest. So crisis is like a mother that's pushing us out of our nest and make us fly. Okay, is that fine? Yeah, Natasha. Okay, fine.
Yes.
So I think there is a meditation before the questions.
So there is a question in the chat.
Yeah, I saw there is a comment before that. Um, what can I do to increase awareness of inner responses so I can choose to act differently? There are many ways, but remember the four ways. Understand the situation, experiment, with small things in small scale, do some experiment with yourself. So let's say the situation of work is creating stress in me. So what I do is, okay, I create more things. I create new avenues for my life. I work in other things. I try other stuff. So that's the experiment that can work. And third thing is self-checking. Always check your own state of mind. How am I going on? And the fourth thing is if you can inspire others, if you can help others, that will help you a lot. So when you act, remember these four things before reacting, so you can act. You know, the difference between reaction and action is the RE, and the RE is in fact reflection. So if you reflect, you don't react, you just act. The other question is, oh no, what can I do to increase? Yeah, that was the question. So I don't know if anybody else has any question. So everything's okay. Otherwise, I would like to take you into inner experience in terms of resilience. You tell me. Natasha, you are the boss, so you tell me.
Yes, absolutely. Please take us into that experience.
Okay. So just relax a bit. Just feel yourself centered, stable. And first of all, understand. So for that, visualize yourself above and beyond, as if you are a bird flying over mountains. And maybe there are many bad things happening there downstairs, but you are up and you understand when you see from above the perfection of the world, the perfection of the scenes and the situations. Don't try to rationalize, don't try to understand in words. Just feel it, how perfect it is, how beautiful it is, everything together. Now, experience yourself completely stable, unshakable. Right now, maybe you have some situations to solve, maybe things are not so well for you, but right now that we are in this environment, we are in this place, I'm safe. I'm totally safe. So feel that stability. And think about yourself. How much, how much you have gone through in a positive way. How many victories have you had during the crisis, this one or any crisis, any problems? Even when things don't go well, think about the lessons you learn, how much strength you got inside. And now let me send that energy of resilience. There are so many people in the world that are going through a crisis and they are very unhappy. They are suffering. So let me send them peace, love. Let me just focus. Let me just send light, very much light, energy. maybe the person needs courage, and maybe that's what I have. Maybe I'm so rich in terms of courage. Maybe I'm a very light person. I don't complicate things. So let me send them the best of myself in the form of good thoughts, good wishes to everyone. So when you go through that experience, what you are doing, you are training yourself, teaching yourself to see the bad things that happen in life in a different way. You start to see them as something positive in a way. They always have something positive there. You start to focus on your own inner strength, your own inner power, and you start to give them others the best of yourself. You start to give the situations also the best of yourself. And one image, it came up to my mind many times. I was part of a group of business consultants, and they used to call themselves lighthouses. So they used to get together every week. And so I start to think of a lighthouse because the name is funny, because the lighthouse is very dark normally. It's very dark. Because the idea is that you just see the light over, you don't see the building, okay? So many lighthouses, they are very, very dark, but they are very strong. They can resist to storms and problems and situations. And that light which over here is illuminating, is giving light everywhere. So even though the lighthouse in itself has many shadows, many dark parts, that lighthouse is able to be light. And the first part of lighthouse is that light. So when you focus on the light, you are able to overcome the shadows. You are able to overcome any dark parts. And that's resilience in terms of spirituality. Focus on the light you are. If you believe in God, take from God that energy, because the lighthouse has to work with an energy. Energy has to come from somewhere. So you can just focus on God and get the energy, focus on your own light, and the darkness you see slowly, slowly, you'll be able to give light to your own self. Okay? I hope that's fine. I don't know if it's okay for you people. Hope everything's is great there. I don't know if Savi's there. Anyone there? Oh, now I can see more people. Veronica, estás ahí también? It's good. If you want to ask something, or I still have 5 minutes more. Okay, fine.
Okay, we would like to thank Marcelo Bulk for this valuable and so beneficial information about strengthening inner resilience. I really like your insights about inner strength. Try to visualize what you want rather than worry about your fear. Like the turtle, they focus, right? They focus on the ocean and they use their inner strength to reach the waves. They didn't stay there and die. Okay, I'm not gonna reach, I'm not gonna reach. So that is a positive thinking. I guess they thinking too, right? I think because they just reach. They worry about that. I'm not gonna reach, right? I'm too little, it's too far. No, they have a strength, they focus, no worries, just focus. So I really like that. And I had to share this. It's going to be very short because this happened to me just before this program. My computer, my laptop didn't work, frozen. So I go, okay, I'm not going to panic. Okay, no problem. So I didn't think in the problem. I didn't drown in the, oh no, computer, what I got to do? I use my cell. So I put my Zoom in my cell and I keep my cell here and my laptop and my cell on top of the laptop and I continue working in my computer. And like magic, computer work. So I turn off my cell and I come in my computer. So I guess that is my resilience. Never give up, positive, go. So on behalf of all, we thank you again, Marcelo, for being with us this evening. And I hope you can come back again one of these days and stop and recharge. Muchas gracias, Marcelo. And
Thank you, and I hope I can go there physically too. Let's see.
Yeah,
how it
can
happens.
see you back. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Marcelo. This was very informative, and I will put this to use, and I'm sure I will come out.
So now we will end with a song and our upcoming programs. Our next program, yes, next week, next Sunday, is World Meditation Hour for Peace, is 6:30 to 7:30. So please join us to send peace and love to the world, which is very needed now. And we have the power to do it and the positive thinking. And the next Stop and Recharge, if you're thinking, will be in April the 8th. We're gonna have our upcoming programs after the song, or with the song maybe, together, all the programs that are coming. So thank you for joining us this evening and have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you.
Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful, 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 I'm so grateful. Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful, 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 I'm so grateful. Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful, 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 so grateful. gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. So grateful. Grateful. So grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful.